Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Hiking Journal. In today's episode, I head out to Julian, California after a fall storm and take in a quick hike to the top of Eagle Peak in the Cleveland National Forest. Eagle Peak sits high above the San Diego River watershed and affords commanding views of majority of inland San Diego's most notable peaks. From Cuyamaca and North Peaks near Julian to the east, to the ever-popular Mount Woodson and its iconic hike up to Potato Chip Rock to the west and south, as well as Iron Mountain, El Cajon Mountain, and Viejas Mountain to the south. You'll also get a bird's eye view deep down into Boulder Creek to your left as it works its way toward the Three Sisters Falls, one of San Diego's top waterfalls, and to your right, down to the Cedar Creek Falls, that is, in my opinion, the top waterfall in all of Southern California. I was also warned to be especially careful when it's thundering nearby, as the ridges attract lightning and it all drifts east toward Julian. Flash floods are also a big concern around here, as that hard-packed dirt doesn't really soak up the rain very fast, and it can all lead to flash flooding. Another concern if you're attempting to hike the top of Eagle Peak is the presence of peregrine falcons along with the golden and bald eagles, hence the name Eagle Peak. Get one quick look at that steep cliffside to the south of the summit, and it's no wonder why these magnificent birds of prey find this place so appealing for nesting sites. So popular is this cliff area that the Cleveland National Forest closes the cliffside area to visitors during the spring and summer months to protect their nesting areas. If you're planning on visiting Eagle Peak, maybe give the Cleveland National Forest a call before you head out there, just to make sure the trail to the top is open. The peregrine falcons were one of the first animals on the endangered species list, mostly due to the use of the pesticide DDT. Thankfully, they've made an incredible human-assisted recovery and were removed from the federal endangered species list in 1999. They're also the largest of four species of falcons commonly found in California: the peregrine falcon, the prairie falcon, the merlin, and the American kestrel. They can be identified by their narrow pointed wings, dark eyes, and dark hood over their neck and head. They prefer open habitats such as grasslands near tall cliffs. Kind of sounds like the cliffs around Eagle Peak, doesn't it? During the breeding season, they are noisy birds, and they can often be heard calling back and forth to one another. I'd love to hear a pair of them screeching back and forth today on my hike. Maybe I'll get lucky today. Peregrine falcons are also considered the fastest animals on the planet. They've been recorded at a whopping 240 miles per hour while diving. Peregrine falcons are only beaten speed by the legendary 1970s dragster queen Shirley Cha-Cha Muldowney and Don the Snake Prudhomme in the quarter mile. Like most raptors, they use their speed and talons to catch prey, mostly other birds. Prey is killed by the razor-sharp talons or by breaking the vertebrae with a notch in their upper beaks. Yikes. Since it came down pretty good last night here in Temecula, most of the heavier precipitation had moved out east toward Julian. Now, I knew there was a decent chance of rain in the inland San Diego mountains, and I hoped it'd hold off a little bit until I drove the 8 miles down the dirt road to the trailhead, for the trail up to the Three Sisters Falls is also the same one that heads off to Eagle Peak. As I headed east from the house, I had to endure the rising sun blasting its way over the hood of the Jeep and right into my squinting eyes. Well, good morning and welcome back to another edition of the Hiking Journal. Today I'm taking a drive out to Eagle Peak. It's a peak I've never been to. I've been close to it, but I've never actually been to it. In the meantime, I gotta work my way east on Highway 79 toward Warner Springs and eventually the turn when I get to Santa Isabel, the turn off for Julian. But in the meantime, I gotta drive right into this rising sun, and it's pretty brutal. I've got the visor flipped down right to the edge of the road, and at certain areas, boy, I could barely see past the hood. The glare was so bad. And luckily, I washed the windshield real good before I headed out this morning. And as the morning gets a little later, it'll rise a little bit on the east, and it wouldn't be as bad. But the Jeep Wave, it's an older Jeep there. But anyway, it'll be a good adventure. It rained yesterday, a little bit, and there's actually a 50% chance of rain today. And boy, this is a tough little section here. Boy, I can barely see the lines. There's a car in front of me, so I can kind of make out the shape of the blob in front of me there. But yeah, it's supposed to be there's a 50% chance of rain until about 11 o'clock, and then it starts to fade off, and it should be partly cloudy after that. So I'm not going to get started on the hike probably till about 9. It's a long drive. It's only 67 miles from my house to the actual trailhead, but about 8 or 9 miles of it's going to be this narrow road. It's twisty and turny, and some of it's not even paved, and I've been down it before in the snow. So, and they might have gotten snow up here. Snow level was supposed to drop to 4,500 feet, and Julian's at 6. So I could very well be in snow at the beginning of the turnoff off of Highway 79 as I work my way down. I think it's Pine Creek Road to get to Boulder Creek Road, and that'll eventually turn to Eagle Peak Road, where I'll start the trail. So anyway, stay tuned for this episode, my short little day hike up to the top of Eagle Peak in the Cleveland National Forest. That'll all be coming up here in a few minutes on another edition of the Hiking Journal. Those big dark clouds sure look pretty ominous as I work my way past Warner Springs toward Julian. Well, we've been on the road for about a half hour, maybe a little more. Now we're heading into Warner Springs, and you can see the clouds as we're heading in. And school sign is flashing, so I got to slow down to 25 miles per hour. Now, if you're ever going to go do Eagle Rock off the PCT, the north or southbound PCT, this is where you'll park, right there on the right, across from Cal Fire Station. And the trail goes immediately to your left, down through La Cañada Creek right there. And if you keep going down this road, just in another mile or two, you'll see the turnoff for Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. A little bit of rain we got is kind of greened up a little bit. I see it trying to come through. A lot of cattle out here. It's a ranging area, so sometimes you'll see cattle fairly close to the road. And we should be coming up to the Anza-Borrego turnoff here any second. In fact, it looks like, yeah, here's the sign. And here it is, Anza-Borrego Park Headquarters, 23 miles to the left. This is the big power station. This is where most of the people turn. In fact, that's where the guy in front of me is going. We got a ways to go still. We have another, according to the GPS, 49 minutes to the trailhead. So we still got a ways. And I'm getting some rain on the window now. Well, things have taken a sudden change here on my road to the turnoff to Julian. It got really dark all of a sudden, and then the rain started. And it was coming down pretty hard in sections, but there's no snow. It's 41 right now, so the problem is I can't see real good. I do have it on the GPS, and I've been here before, so I kind of know where the turn is. I'll know it when I see it. But hopefully that dirt road I have to drive down is not going to be a muddy, soupy mess. It looks like my turn is coming up here any second. Well, I really don't want to hike in the rain. You never know, I might not have an option today. I did bring my rain shell. That's one thing I did. At the last minute, I decided I'm going to throw this in the Jeep just in case. And it looks like that might be a good call. But the problem is, okay, now I'm getting hail. A little bit of hail was bouncing off the Jeep there. Temperatures dropped down to 40. The rain's let off a little bit, so that's a good thing. Alright, I'm maybe going to be making a ride here on Pine Hills Road, it looks like, with maybe an Edison crew or something. And this is the beginning of the road. This part of the road is paved, which is nice. But I still got a ways to go. It says I'm 30 minutes from the trailhead, so this road's kind of windy, and it's not real wide, and at some point it turns from paved road to dirt road. But there are some really nice ranches up here, and it's actually really pretty. We won't see a lot of it this morning because it's foggy and the rain. So hopefully the rain will let up as we kind of work our way down a little bit in altitude and get out of the cloud cover. I'm hoping it'll open up a little bit. We'll be able to see a little more. Well, I have made so many turns off the main highway, I can't even really tell you where I am now. The GPS on all trails is having me take Eagle Peak Road, and when I got to the Eagle Peak Boulder Creek Road junction, I remembered that I drove past a fire station or a ranger station and a Girl Scout camp, and so I went the opposite direction of the GPS, and because I know for a fact the one that goes by the fire station is the road that actually goes to the trailhead, because I've been there before, because the trailhead for the Eagle Peak Trail is also the same trailhead for the Three Sisters waterfall, which I did in the spring. So this road is paved, at least so far. So I'm going to stay on this one, and it looks sort of familiar. And I'm going to work my way down to a point where I'll be on Boulder Creek Road, which will literally take me right to the trailhead. And it's showing on the GPS, but it's cutting out, and I didn't download it for offline use, so there's not real good cell reception here. And in fact, most of the time there's not any at all. I keep having to refresh the GPS, but it looks like this road that I'm on is working its way downhill, which is the direction I want to go. And it looks like I'm coming out of the clouds a little bit. It's still cloudy, but it's not as dark, and it's not raining. I'm just getting drops on the Jeep from the trees. So hopefully I'm going the right way. Well, it looks like here's the fire station. So it looks like I'm on the right path here. This is Pine Hills Fire Station. And it looks like this is where the pavement ends. Hopefully it's not too muddy and soupy. I am in a Jeep, and I do have four-wheel drive, so that should be a good thing. Hopefully I won't need it today. I remember this road wasn't that bumpy, so I didn't have to air down the tires or anything like that, and I think it's suitable even for fairly decent SUVs and two-wheel drive trucks and stuff like that. Passenger cars can probably make it if they are careful, keep an eye on the road. So it says I'm 17 minutes from the trailhead, and I am getting closer, so looks like this might be the right path. Well, it's pretty scenic in here. It's opened up quite a bit into this oak woodland here, and don't know if you can make that out, and I'm not 100% sure, but that could very well be directly in front of us behind that tree right there. That could very well be Eagle Peak right there. Because I know on the left side of Eagle Peak, which is facing the south, there's a steep drop that drops right down into the canyon to Boulder Creek, and that's also a Peregrine falcon or a raptor nesting area, and they can sit there and catch the thermals on the edge of that peak, and they nest there, and it's closed during certain parts of the year. So we'll see if the trail is closed as we get closer to the summit. I think they've just kind of cordoned off a section of it, not the whole peak, but the cliffside peak, the cliffside part. Very pretty up here today. This might turn out to be a good day, especially if we don't get rained on. And well, what do you know? I finally arrived at the trailhead. It looks like there might not be anybody else here. Now, I did read that there's some significant erosion down here. Three Sisters Falls Trailhead, this is where this is. But we are going to share the trail with the Three Sisters Trail here for a short distance, about a quarter mile, and then we're going to continue up. Eagle Peak is in front of us there. And there is some erosion here in these in the trailhead, but it's not too bad. I have a Jeep, so Jeeps can go just about anywhere. I'm going to get a little closer to the trailhead here. I'll back the Jeep in. We'll get started for today, huh? Well, good morning and welcome to this edition of the Journal. Today I'm going to be taking the trail that's right behind me here. This is the Falls Trail that goes to Three Sisters here in the Cleveland National Forest. It's also shares the same trail as the trail to the top of Eagle Peak, which is over that direction right there. And for the first quarter mile, half mile or so, we're going to be walking down this main pathway here. The Three Sisters Falls is off to my right, this direction, and the trail, there isn't really too much of a marking for the Eagle Peak Trail, but I've been here before, and when you get to the sign that basically tells you to go left to the Three Sisters, if you continue straight, that'll be the path up to Eagle Peak. And I've been forewarned by reading some of the other blogs and some of the other posts on all trails. There's 3 or 4 separate false summits on the path to Eagle Peak, so just when you think you're there, you're not. So anyway, stick around and follow me up the trail as we head over to Eagle Peak out here in the Cleveland National Forest in San Diego County. It's a little chilly today. It's only 37 degrees right now. 37, that's a little chilly. And there's a good breeze, and there's some really, really dark clouds, especially that direction. There is some rain falling over there, so hopefully I can get up the trail a ways and get to the top of Eagle Peak before it starts raining on me. I had a rain shell. I'm good either way, but makes it a little more miserable. Well, this ought to be interesting. Maybe there's a way I can plow my way through the bushes and get around this. Let's see if I can. You know, last time I was up here, it was in the spring, and all the oak trees were in full bloom, and they're all leafed out. It was real pretty and scenic. All this was green, and not so much today. Completely different atmosphere today, as we're closing in on winter. Now, you probably can't see this, but way off in the distance, at the convergence of the hillside in the back, and the one on the left, and the one on the right, and the one in the front, right in the middle of that, that's Three Sisters Falls right there. The big dark area is the largest drop, followed by the secondary drop, and there's actually, I believe, a third drop higher up to the left, more tucked into the canyon. And that's where a lot of people head down that way. We're not going that way. We're going to be going this way over toward Eagle Peak, and in fact, that could very well be Eagle Peak, but I'm not sure. I should wait till we get a little closer. I did print them out, but I left it at home as usual. Or left it in the car at least. But hopefully that rain will hold off, at least for a little while. It's like fog's moving in. I really don't want that either. Well, this is the sign that leads you down to the Three Sisters waterfalls. Of course, we're not going that way. We're going this way today. There's a pretty good trail right here. There's no signs for Eagle Peak, but hopefully when we get up a little ways, it'll be pretty obvious, I hope. Sun's trying to peek out. Hopefully it'll stay that way. Trail's been very well marked. Well, not marked, there's no markings, but it's pretty obvious where the trail is. You can't get lost. You can see down here how the trail kind of undulates up and over that ridge line, and it's continuing this way up here, and it's going to work its way to the left. And now I can see a bunch of clouds blowing in actually from the south and west, which is kind of where this storm is coming from. This isn't a storm that normally comes from the north and east. This one's kind of coming up, swirling around from the south. But anyway, so I'm getting there. I just want to tell you what I'm wearing today, just out of curiosity, in case you're wondering. You know, you're going to be hiking in the rain. What do you do when it's raining, or when you anticipate rain when you're on a hike? The first thing you have to remember is, number one, be prepared for a little colder temperatures. It's 37 right here, and I'm sweating. Don't wear cotton if you can avoid it. Don't wear cotton. Anything synthetic, polyester, rayon, any type of those synthetic fibers do a better job of wicking away moisture, and they dry a lot faster. Cotton, it gets wet, it soaks in, and it just stays wet, and it clings to your body, and it just sucks all the heat right out of your body. That's not what you want to do on a rainy day or a cold day. This is the perfect conditions for wearing wool. So in this adventure, I'm wearing wool socks. I've got a polyviscose kilt, so it's not a wool kilt, it's polyviscose, so it's synthetic. I've got synthetic boxer briefs on. I've also got a Icebreaker Tech Tee wool short sleeve shirt, which is phenomenal. That, you know, I've worn this 5-6 days straight on a backpack trip. No odor whatsoever. Does a phenomenal job of wicking away moisture and keeping you warm at the same time while maintaining its breathability. And then of course this sweater, this is the piece de resistance for today. This is the kind of, I guess it's sort of a cable knit, hand knitted, 100% wool sweater, handmade in Ireland. And you're not going to believe what I paid for this. This sweater retails for between $250 and $300 if you were to buy this in Ireland, or if you were to buy this at Macy's or Nordstrom's or any of the other higher end stores. I paid, I think, $19.99 for this. It was marked down about 10 times. The original price was $100, marked down from $225 at Marshall's, and from there it went down to $49.95, so it was half of that $100 price. Then from the $100 price, it went down to from $49 to like $19.99, and that's where I picked this up. There's only one. It happened to be my size. It's kind of a cream color, and it goes perfect, absolutely perfect with this McGregor kilt. And you know, these socks are not the best. These are a lower end. They don't actually call them socks. They call them hose, which sounds like a woman's garment. But and my wife calls this a skirt anyway, even though it's not a skirt. That's a kilt because it's got the pleats in the back. But for today, it's perfect because it's warm enough to keep my legs warm. The polyviscose is thick enough to prevent a lot of the wind. I do get some circulation underneath, which is what you can imagine. And this cable knit sweater, I don't know if you can see this, but this is very breathable. It keeps you warm by maintaining that little bit of insulation, but it also breathes really well. So when I was wearing my my rain shell, I took it off just a few minutes ago because I was hiking uphill and I was starting to sweat really bad, and I don't want to get all chilled and sweaty, so I took it off, and within minutes I'm totally dry. So I'll keep the shell. I got it tied around my waist because it looks like we could get some rain. And if it does get windy too, you can also use that if it's windy as a wind shell. So anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to be heading up that way, continuing up toward Eagle Peak. See if I make it. You know, as I work my way up the trail, you know, there's several different peaks. There's that one. There's one over there. As I came around the corner, now I have a view of this one. And look at the left side. Look at the face of that. Does that look like a perfect place for a raptor nest? Sure does to me. I have a feeling that's probably Eagle Peak right there. Well, this looks like a place where I'm gonna have to start paying the piper. Looks like I just did a little steep uphill section. Came to the bend in the trail here. It looks like I've got quite a bit of use on the left side there, but there's also 3 cairns right there. But I've also got a trail right there. So I'm going to stick with the trail. Maybe this is a shortcut, I don't know. And I'll follow the trail for a little bit, and then maybe I'll pull out the All Trails app. I downloaded the map for off-trail use, so we'll see if I'm going the right direction. Well, that's a little steep section there. And it looks like it's going to get steeper here in the next minute or two. But I'm getting close. I just checked the All Trails map, and that rock cairn back there marks another short use trail that's marked in the All Trails map as a viewpoint. So on the way back, we're going to go hit that. But in the meantime, we got to climb up there. And like I said, there's several different false summits, so hopefully that's the top. Cross our fingers. Looks pretty damn steep. Well, the old use trail, I believe, heads up there. And that's the view from that spot. But we're not going down there. We're continuing up to the right. Still, it's pretty impressive. It's definitely steeper up there, but we got a tremendous view down that direction. Switch back, and it looks like I've only got maybe a couple more. Well, I'm breathing pretty good now. I don't know if that's the top or not. Could be another false summit, but this section is a little tougher. It's got some, not only is it steep, it's rocky with some big steps. If I'm getting there, can't be too much farther. Well, I can see what they mean now about the false summits. I thought that was the second summit. Turns out, looking at the map, there's one more. Hopefully that's it. At least the trail looks a little easier over here. We'll see. I'm pretty sure that's it this time. Well, just when you thought that was the summit, guess what? It's not. We still got one more. At least that one looks easy. Getting pretty good views from up here though. Views of some pretty dark clouds too. I was told, I read somewhere, there were 3 benchmarks up here somewhere. And this is definitely the high point right here. Well, I'm on top Eagle Peak, and this is going to have to be a little quicker summit than I figured. I just got a little dousing of rain, a little bit of hail, so instead of doing the top ramen, I might just do the Spam singles and a cup of coffee. Got my Optimus 8R Hunter backpack stove. This is from about 1972 or so, give or take. Also got it on my titanium. I'm turn it up a little bit. Yeah, my stove's having a little bit of trouble going here. It's kind of windy, and now I'm getting hail again. Just little balls. Not a lot. Just enough to make you a little worried. Normally the stove does pretty well even in the wind, but not today. I don't know what it is. I didn't prime it well enough, I guess. It's going now, but it's still going to take another minute or two. And it looks like I'm getting some more raindrops here. Hopefully another 5 minutes maybe or less. My coffee will be, this water will be hot enough to pour my coffee, but it keeps kind of flaming out a little bit. Now my water is getting there. It's not quite at a boil yet, but I see little bubbles forming in the bottom. Still having trouble though. But boy, what a view from up here, huh? There's a big canyon down there. I'm gonna have to look that up and see where that goes. And as you look this way, you look over toward Ramona. There's also another benchmark over here. I noticed this. I found all 3 of them. This is the other one. It says Eagle on it. And my hands are starting to get cold. Well, I made it up to the top of Eagle Peak here in the Cleveland National Forest. There was a little bit of snow in Julian, not a lot, just a little, and there's some really, really dark clouds in a 360, especially over that direction there. So at one point about 5 minutes ago when I was heating up my water for my coffee, I got about a 20-second burst of little hail balls that already melted, and a couple of raindrops, and that was it. So in fact, right now I can feel it, and in fact I can see it on the lens of my phone, which is just sitting there off to the side. I'm gonna have to cover that up. But as soon as this gets nice and hot, I'm gonna have my coffee and sit on a big boulder here and gonna take in this magnificent view of the canyon and the valleys, looking over toward Three Sisters waterfalls that direction, and Boulder Creek is down below me here. Cedar Creek Falls is over that way. It's one of the best waterfalls in San Diego, maybe in all of Southern California. But I got a tremendous view looking south. And looking that way is Cuyamaca Peak, which is the second highest peak in San Diego County. It's right below Hot Springs Mountain. And you can also see Mount Woodson, which is where I think Mount Woodson is right over there. And Iron Mountain is over there as well. And this way is looking more to the east and to the north and west. And Palomar is over that direction there. And well, these clouds are moving fast. This water better hurry up and heat up so I can get my coffee and get it in and get off the top here. I have to worry about lightning up here as well. I didn't think of that till I got almost here. It's starting to sprinkle again. I don't know if you can see that, but it's starting to sprinkle real lightly here. So if it picks up too much, I'll have to, yeah, it's a little bit of icy rain, not too bad. So hopefully this will heat up here pretty quick, and then I'll be able to get my coffee and get off the top and head back to the car. All right, well, I'll give you a 360-degree view from the top of Eagle Peak here in San Diego County. And this direction behind me here, going that way, is to the north and east. And now you're looking due east. Cuyamaca Peak is behind me. I gotta watch where I'm stepping here as I'm on the highest rock here at the benchmark on top of Eagle Peak. It's been a good hike. It's only 4.5 miles round trip. It's not bad. It does involve some climbing. There are some ups and downs, some false summits. The trail wasn't marked at all, but it was really easy to follow. There were a few cairns in specific places, but it wasn't too bad. Nice and chilly here today. It's probably it's probably by now it's probably low 40s, but it's a little breezy. I think my water's about boiling over there for my coffee. See, the sun's coming through right down there in that patch. How cool is that, huh? Yeah, it's not quite at a rolling boil, but it's close. This is that avalanche coffee. This stuff is really good. Especially for a day like today when it's cold outside, when it's in the upper 30s, low 40s. I did bring a Trader Joe's instant coffee as well, but I'll save that for another day. A little bit more water in there. Hey, look at the foam on that thing. Oh, let's go sit down and have some coffee. Well, what'd you think of this peak, huh? Eagle Peak out here in inland San Diego County. I'm glad the hail stopped. And the breeze is a little chilly right now. I can feel it going through the cable in this wool sweater, but I'm plenty warm. Didn't take too long to get out here. It's only 11 o'clock. Took me less than 2 hours. Yeah, about 2 hours, I guess, to get up here. I've been here a while. I've been here half an hour, so actually less than that. Didn't see anybody else on the trail. Didn't see any wildlife. The one good thing about it being cold like it is today, you won't see snakes up here. I guarantee you this is snake country, rattlesnake country. And nothing. It's too cold today. They're under the rocks. They're hibernating by now, or they're at least out of the wind. And believe it or not, right here, right now, just a slight breeze. It's not bad at all. So far, everything's worked out good. I'm a little disappointed in the stove. I had the stove on top of a rock, which is a bad idea. I should have put it in a wind-protected place. Oh, the sun's coming out. Oh, does that feel good? The windscreen that I have is not meant for what I was using it for. If I would have put it down in the dirt, there's little stakes. I could have staked down the windscreen. It wouldn't have moved and would have blocked the wind a little better. And I would have had a lot quicker boil on my water than what I did. And who knows? I might move it and maybe I'll do the top robin anyway. I don't know. We'll see. Sun's coming out. It's going to turn into a really nice day. It's beautiful up here. If you've never been up to Eagle Peak, if you've never visited Three Sisters especially, you really need to make a trip out here. The road, Pine Hills or Pine Creek Road or Pine Mountain Road, whatever it's called, that road is paved, and then you get to a turnoff where it turns into Eagle Peak Road and Boulder Creek Road. Boulder Creek Road is the one you want. That's the one that's paved most of the way, and then when the pavement ends, it turns into dirt. I swear that was one of the nicest paved roads I've been on in a long time. I've been on a lot of dirt truck trails, and this was definitely not a truck trail. I mean, people must use this road all the time because I've never seen a road that smooth. And even after the rain, there really wasn't that much mud, very little. I think I slipped one little point and never put it in four-wheel drive, so can't beat that. I don't know if I would take it in a car after a rain because there's always that possibility you could bury it. But If it's in a dry season, especially, no problem whatsoever in a regular car. I wouldn't be taking a Corvette out here or anything, or a Prius, but you never know. This coffee's pretty good. You know, I have another one. I'm tempted to do another one. Maybe I will. We'll see. Well, this is a pretty good view. That's the raptor area right there, that cliffside. That's where the nests are. I haven't seen any birds today, but there's a tremendous drop off straight down to that creek down there. I think that's Boulder Creek. That's got to be 1,000 feet, close to it. Well, it's it's hailing on me now. There's a jet flying overhead. I want to see if I can at least get off the top part here as I scramble my way through the rocks. I really don't want to have to put on my rain shell. One good thing about hail is it pretty much just bounces and rolls right off. But you can see it right here. Uh-oh. If it gets too bad, I'll have to put the camera gear away. I don't have the waterproof covering. You can see the false summit. Over there is that raptor area right there. Hopefully this hail will be temporary and I won't have to put on my rain shell. And that's the good thing about wool, is it maintains its warmth while it's wet. And I have all wool layers today. And of course this hail is just bouncing right in the ear. This hail is bouncing off me, so it's not really sticking, which is a good thing. If it gets too much, I'll have to get out the rain shell, but you can see it coming down now. It's coming from that direction over there. I gotta get moving. All right, well, there's another raptor area over there. This is one right here. There's several areas around here. It was hailing pretty good, so put the camera away for a minute, but it's still turning into more of a rain now. So if it picks up any more, I'll have to put on the other jacket. Well, you can see where I'm headed here. I'm heading downhill and off to the right, back in that gorge. That's where Three Sisters is, and we're going to continue along the right side or the south side of this ridge for a ways, and then we're going to drop down to the junction where the sign bends and sign heads right to Three Sisters, and it continues straight toward the trailhead of Three Sisters Trail and obviously the Eagle Peak Trail. So we're getting there, and the sun has come out mostly, and believe it or not, it's hot. I'm dying in this sweater right now. If I wasn't 20 minutes from the car, I'd probably stop and take it off. I don't know, I might anyway, we'll see. But when the sun ducks behind the clouds, it cools down a lot, but as long as it's out, it's hot. Well, it looks like I made it back to the Jeep. And there is another car here. I didn't see it from earlier. It's a Hyundai Sonata of all things. But anyway, I made the 4.5 mile trip up to the top of Eagle Peak and back. I got hailed on a little bit. I got rained on a little bit. Did some climbing. Had a nice cup of coffee when I was up there. And now I'm back here at the trailhead. I'm going to have a beer, I think, maybe, and relax and look at these ominous clouds over Cuyamaca Peak and North Peak. And I don't know. I didn't see any hikers. There's somebody here, so maybe they went down to the Three Sisters Falls. I don't know. But anyway, it was a good adventure. I enjoyed it. It was a nice hike. It was a good distance. This is only 4.5 miles, but it's perfect. This would be a good beginner hike, I think. It's got some uphills. It's got some downhills. It's got some challenging sections. It's got some rock hopping a little bit. You know, you don't really have to use your hands, but it doesn't hurt. And at the top, you got tremendous views. You got 3 benchmarks. I didn't see a sign-in register. I mean, there might be one. I didn't see it. I didn't really look for it because right when I was getting ready to start to look for it, that's when the hail came. I thought, yeah, I got to get out of here. So anyway, I'm going to relax and chill. I brought a chair. I'm going to hang out, get a little bit of sun, have a nice cold beer. A little bit of bumpy ride, I think. That was a while ago. Well, there's nothing better than taking a break after a tough hike. Having a nice cold Guinness. It's a pretty day out here today. Now that most of the cloud, well, I shouldn't say most, there's still some pretty dark clouds. There's even some over that way too. In fact, there's some huge white cumulonimbus clouds over that direction. But this was a nice hike. I wish somebody would have went with me, but I didn't ask anybody. Sometimes I just like going out by myself. I kind of wish it wouldn't have been as breezy at the top. It would have been nice to have been able to cook my top ramen, and I should have brought something to sit on. I didn't bring a sit pad this time, and I usually do. And maybe it's because I wasn't carrying a pack. If I would have been carrying a backpack, I would have brought something to sit on. So I'll have to remember that for next time. If I come back up here, that's what I'm going to do. But I wonder where this couple went. Guy or girl or a couple, who knows. I didn't see him on the trail at all up to Eagle Peak, so obviously they went down to Three Sisters. And this is kind of an odd time to go to Three Sisters because there's no water in it. I mean, what's the point of going to the falls if there's no water, you know? I'm sure there's a little bit of a trickle, but I was here in the spring and it was rolling pretty good, and that pond was pretty deep, and it was nice. I would definitely come back here to do Three Sisters again. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy this sun. It actually feels pretty good. It's nice and warm right here. It's just a little bit of a breeze. Then I got to be heading home. I got to wash the Jeep, I guess, now. Well, I made it up the top of Eagle Peak out here near Julian, and I thought it had warmed up a little bit in the afternoon, barely afternoon, when the sun came out, but evidently not. It's still only 41 degrees, so it's still a little chilly, but completed the hike, and now I'm on this long drive back to get down to Julian, and or get right outside of Julian, and I'm going to head down through Wainola and work my way down to Santa Isabel. We're at the corner of 78 and 79 where Dudley's Bakery and Julian Pie Company is. And I don't know, I told my wife I wasn't going to stop at Dudley's. I wasn't going to stop and get a Julian pie, but you know what? You know, maybe later tonight, you know, that Dutch apple will end up being a pretty good choice. So I think I'm going to stop at the Julian Pie Company and just get one slice of Dutch apple for me and my wife, and maybe I'll get a small jug of apple cider. That's good. Well, that'll do it for another edition of the Hiking Journal, my solo hike to Eagle Peak near Julian, California. In the next edition, I head toward the upper elevations of the Anza Borrego Desert and hike an unfamiliar section of the Pacific Crest Trail. Along the way, I take in some amazing desert scenery and get a glimpse of 2 iconic PCT landmarks for all of those hiking all the way from Mexico to Canada, the 100-mile marker and Billy Goat Cave. That'll all be coming up in the next edition of the Hiking Journal, Southbound PCT from Beryl Springs. Once again, if you have any questions or comments about this or any other edition of the Hiking Journal, drop me a note in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button to get the latest editions of the journal as I post them. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you down the trail. Bye-bye.